Darren, you ready to make some picks?
Let's make some picks. What's the worst we can do? Be wrong. So let's make. Won't be the first time.
Let's jump right into it with the Auburn Tigers going to Columbia, Missouri to face the Missouri Tigers. Auburn has had a disappointing year. Missouri, we've had some questions about. They got a nice respite last weekend with Massachusetts. Yeah. Darren, who do you like in this one? It's an 11 o'clock kickoff on ESPN.
And I think both of these teams have offenses that can create some trouble. So the question is, which team has a defense that might be able to stop the other one? And I don't know that that's going to be Auburn. So I think Missouri's defense steps up, wins this game for them. I think this is a Missouri win. How about you?
I've gone back and forth on this one, Darren. That Missouri A&M game really troubles me deeply.
Yeah.
Just to argue with you, I'm going to go with Auburn.
Well, Hugh Freeze loves you. I mean,
another early game, 11:45 kickoff on the SEC network. South Carolina, which had Alabama on the ropes last week and blew that, travels to Norman to face an Oklahoma team that is licking its wounds after underperforming, I guess you could say, against Texas in the Red River rivalry. Darren, who do you like in this one?
Well, first, let me say, this being an 11:45, fast or rewind about 20 years. This is the 11:30 Jefferson Pilot Lincoln Financial game. Would you agree with that? That's the slot this would be if we were rewinding about 20, 25 years, whatever. So shout out, old school fans are going, oh yeah, the Jefferson Pilot game. Maybe it's more sentimental to me because that's pretty much the only place I could ever grab a Vanderbilt game during those days. If they weren't the Jefferson Pilot game, we were done. So, but anyway, all right. I think just strictly because it's in Norman, I think I'm going with Oklahoma. I think South Carolina scares me if I'm an Oklahoma fan, even coming to our place. But I think because there's going to be a little bit of extra fire coming off of the Texas loss and it being at home, I think that gives Oklahoma the edge. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma in this one.
Oklahoma has played these early games before. A lot of times in the Big 12, the way the TV schedules were. I would feel better for Oklahoma if this was a night game. Your early games, the crowds typically aren't as into it, at least initially, as they are for the night games or the mid-afternoon games. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say South Carolina. I like the OU defense. I'm still very skeptical of the OU offense, and this Gamecock defense is stout.
Yeah.
So this may end up being a 10-7 game or 13-10 game, something like that, a low-scoring game. So I'm gonna go with South Carolina. The afternoon game on ABC is the 7th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide traveling to Knoxville to face the 11th-ranked Tennessee Volunteers. Darren, who's your pick?
Well, going to be on opposite ends of this one as well because I am not picking Tennessee. I mean, I try to be an honest fan if I feel like Tennessee is really – but even with this being in Knoxville, gosh, Alabama scares me so bad because obviously they lost to Vanderbilt. South Carolina showed what they could do with Alabama because of their defense. Tennessee's got a even stronger defense than South Carolina. But there's just something about this game that makes me feel like this is going to be Alabama getting things back on track a little bit more. They're coming off a win. You learn more during the week after a win than the week after a loss, after a tough win. So I think that's going to work. So I'm going to go with Alabama on this one. How about you?
I'm going with the Volunteers. They got them at home. Both teams. This is a playoff elimination game.
Very valid point.
The stakes are incredibly high here.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go Tennessee. The The 14th ranked Texas A&M Aggies travel to Starkville to face Mississippi State. Darren, who you like in this?
With it being in Starkville and seeing what Mississippi State did last week, I feel like Mississippi State will be in this game a little bit more, but that's about as far as it goes. I think this is a stout A&M defense. Their offense is definitely showing improvement. They're up over 400 yards a game. Uh, I think this is an A&M win. How about you?
Mid-afternoon game, SEC Network, mid 80s probably is the forecast. So not
Yep.
too terribly hot. I don't think that's going to affect either team here. If I think Elko has brought something different to A&M. I think
Mm-hmm.
coaches in the past, I might be tempted to pick Mississippi State to pull off an upset. I feel pretty good about their offense. Their defense worries me tremendously. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the Aggies pulling out a victory. I agree with you. I think State's going to be in this game, but I think the Aggies win. A night game, 6 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. Eighth ranked LSU, fresh off that upset against Ole Miss, travels to Fayetteville to face the Arkansas Razorbacks, who most recently upset Tennessee. So both programs relishing some very big wins so far in this season. Darren, this game is always close. The last time there was a
Yep.
blowout in this game, I believe, was 2019 when
Yep.
LSU had that tremendous team that went on to win the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
Every game since then, if I'm not mistaken, has been decided by 3 points or less.
Wow.
This is, if you like good competitive football, this is one of those games that typically goes down to the wire. It's going to be a hard fought game. Darren, who you like in this?
I think it will follow suit. I think Alabama will absolutely terrify every LSU or Alabama.
Who
Goodness, I quit.
not sure. This may be irreparable damage to our friendship.
Let me. Oh, that's a hog. Oh, that's.
Man, you just alienated all our Arkansas listeners.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Which challenge to those Arkansas listeners, there should be more of you. Let me know that I've alienated you. Come on, let's go. Let's try that again. Arkansas will terrify all LSU fans and keep it close, keep it close, keep it close. I think the difference in last week's game is I think LSU will step out and take control of this game. LSU or Arkansas will hang around, hang around, hang around, but ultimately LSU pulls it off. It'll be a close game. It'll be a very exciting fan if you don't or game if you don't have a dog in the hunt. But I think LSU pulls it off. How about you? Who do you think wins this game?
Whoever outcoaches the other one. This is the Bobby Petrino offense versus the Blake Baker defense.
Yep.
We are going to see a chess match.
Yep.
I'm excited to see it.
Yep.
Honestly, Darren, every year this game makes me a nervous wreck because LSU's not going to go into Fayetteville and easily pull out a win. This is like a gladiator contest. They,
Absolutely.
they are going to fight till the end. And Arkansas is good. They
Yep.
beat Tennessee. Let's remember that.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
but I cannot turn my back on my beloved Tigers. I'm going with LSU.
Well done. I appreciate that.
Hard pick. The Ball State. What are they? The Cardinals.
Yes,
They don't do that funky thing like Stanford does. The Cardinal.
they do not. They're not.
They
They
don't have
don't
a big
have to.
tree for a mascot.
They don't have to not have an S. Exactly.
Add that to my list on reasons why the Pac-12 died.
Exactly. Why did the Pac-12 become the Pac-2? The S. That's what.
Ball State's coming to Nashville to face a red-hot Vanderbilt team that, according to some information I saw today, Darren, interest in Vanderbilt football has never been higher than it is right now.
I agree with that statement.
Darren, do I even have to ask who you're picking?
They are my sure thing pick. I am riding. Let's go 3-0 in 3 weeks. Let's go, Van. Anchor down. Let's go. How about you?
Anchor down. I'm right with you, Darren.
Nice.
Vanderbilt for the win. Our 6:30 primetime game on ABC is a huge one. Fifth-ranked Georgia
Yes.
Bulldogs against the number one ranked Texas Longhorns. You could argue, from Georgia's perspective, this game puts their playoff chances on life support.
Yeah.
Texas is undefeated. Georgia's going to be playing with desperation. Texas is playing for respect. We're new kids on the block in the SEC. If you're going to win the SEC, you're going to have to topple Georgia. It's in Austin. It's a night game.
Mm-hmm.
Who you like, Darren?
I got to tell you, I don't think, even though I'm not saying all of a sudden Georgia is this, oh, they might not win 7 games, not being silly about it, but I don't think Georgia has looked like the Georgia of the past. And I think because of that, I'm willing to say home team pulls this one out, and that the home team on this one is Texas. I think Texas, to some people in the SEC, will shock the world with this one. I think it's going to be a fun game. Nobody's going to blow either team out, no matter where it is. But I think Texas pulls this game off. I think Texas stays undefeated, holds tightly onto that number one ranking for this week, setting up a great opportunity for Vanderbilt in the future. Different conversation, but Texas with the win.
Two outstanding coaches in this game.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to watch. There was a part of me that wanted to say Georgia. It's in Austin, though, so I'm going to go with the Longhorns. And then another night game on the SEC network, the Kentucky Wildcats, looking for more NIL money to compete with the likes of Vanderbilt, is
That's right.
traveling down to Gainesville to face the Florida Gators, both teams at 500, both teams pretty much out of the playoff talk, playing for a respectable bowl game, hopefully. Who do you like in this one?
I believe it was my good friend and co-host that just a couple of weeks ago said defense is still premium in the SEC, and I think that defines this game. There's not a reason to pick Kentucky. It's in Gainesville. Kentucky is reeling a little bit. Their coach is whining about NIL. All that being said, they have an elite defense that's just over 250 yards a game, and this is playing against teams like Alabama and having a tough game against South Carolina. But this has not been all against cupcake teams. I think their defense does, in fact, reign supreme and pulls off this win. I think it's a Kentucky win.
First team to 17 wins. I think this is going to be a low scoring game. Kentucky is having trouble manufacturing any kind of offense. They got a stout
Yeah.
defense. Lagway is going to be somewhat thrown to the wolves against this Kentucky defense, but it's at home. You need a few special plays. If you can generate a couple of touchdowns, I think that's
Mhm.
all you're going to need to do to win this game. So I'm going to go with the Florida Gators, who are going to win this game and celebrate to the beautiful music of Tom Petty all through the night
Nice.
on Saturday.
I tell you, the one thing that does scare me about this pick that makes your pick make a whole lot of sense is I think one of the things that Vanderbilt did show last week with this Kentucky defense is they can struggle with a mobile quarterback. So I think Lagway's feet could be the issue that tips Florida. Obviously, I still think the Kentucky defense will stand up. But that being said, I think that gives some real strength to your pick. If he gets out of the pocket, scrambles, puts up 85, 90 yards rushing against this Kentucky defense, I think that makes the difference. Puts them in field goal position to win that, 17-14 or 17-13, however it works, 16-13. But I think that's a real possibility there.
Well, those are our picks for the week. You be sure to make your picks. Join our college pick'em.
Yes.
It's free. There's a link just down below. Click on that. We'd love
Mm-hmm.
to have you be a
Mm-hmm.
part of that. Thank you for being a
Absolutely.
subscriber. If you're not, hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends, hey, we found a couple of guys that love SEC football. You love it too. We all love it. Let's get together. Let's talk about it. We love your comments. Have a great weekend watching college football, and we'll see you next time. Y'all take care.